Rocky Mountain Sasquatch. Two men come face to face with two giant Sasquatch near Seeley Lake, Montana. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell button so that you can get all notifications for the 2 to 3 videos we post every week. This is what happened. Bruno writes RMSO. I'm sorry if I don't have a photo of this incident, but I really wanted to tell you this story because it still makes me cry to this day, and I still have nightmares. I'll go by Bruno B. I'm from Brazil and I'm 21 years old. In 2017, I came to the USA to visit my uncle who died in 2021. He lived in Seeley Lake, Montana. I had arrived at the Kalispell Airport where my uncle was there to pick me up. We traveled from there to Bigfoot, and from there we were going to Seeley Lake where he lived. It was a long road and we stopped in a road which had some grass and some dense forest. It was around 2 to 3 p.m. We both got out of the car to go take a pee in some bushes. After we did and were returning to the car is when I noticed something strange moving on the other side of the road. I said to my uncle, "You saw that?" He said, "Yes." We approached the other side of the road and there was something pitch black crouching in some bushes close to the dense forest, about 5 yards from the road. I thought it was a person in some costume trying to scare us. And then comes the part that I regretted doing to this day. I screamed at the thing, "Hey, quit with the BS!" Then the thing stood on its 2 legs. It was about 6'2". It had arms as long as its legs, and we could see the face now. It resembled a person with a human-like nose, but its jaw was very wide, and its forehead was big like those of Neanderthals. Its head didn't have so much fur, but its body was covered in pitch black fur. The thing stood up on 2 legs and started to scream at us with a guttural voice that I can't describe. We were so scared now. As we were going to the car, my uncle stopped and looked at it again. And now I saw behind this thing, there was another one. This one was the tall one. It still gives me nightmares. It was much bigger than the first one, and it was like 11 feet tall. It was gray and had very long fur head to toe. It had a very long fur on its face, like a very long beard. It was the biggest, scariest thing I've ever seen. He approached the smaller one, put his hand on his shoulder. The small one looked at him, and they strided slowly back into the dense forest. At this point, my uncle ran back to the car, and we drove as fast as we could to Seeley Lake. I never told this story to anybody because I thought people would ridicule me here in my home country. And at this age, I didn't know about Bigfoot or anything like that because I'm not from the US. And the only witness of this was my uncle, who is now deceased. But after I searched for the giant humanoids, I came across the Bigfoot thing. And when I watched in the documentaries and then saw the leg and arm measuring that Thinker Thunker does on his YouTube channel, along with other Bigfoot videos I've watched, like the Patterson-Gimlin film, I'm convinced those 2 things I saw were certainly Bigfoots. And that scares the hell out of me. I get scared of walking in any of the woods now, even outside of the US. I hope you read this. Thank you. We respond at RMSO. Thank you for your sighting report. We're very familiar with the area you had your experience in sighting. We spent a lot of time near Kalispell and surrounding areas of the Montana because of the sighting reports we received from there. As a matter of fact, we have driven past the Seeley Lake area a couple of times, and we just barely went on an expedition out there because of your Bigfoot sighting, and we also met up with a local researcher out there and tracked a couple of Bigfoots there. It was pretty crazy. We found giant 19-inch footprints and some smaller ones that were about 14, 15 inches in length. When I first started doing this over a dozen years ago, seriously, my stereotype was a single Bigfoot, rare but single out in the forests. After a dozen years of doing this, I found that what is more typical of the Bigfoot is they live and travel in groups of 2 or more. Usually if you see one or you find tracks of one, you'll find tracks of another one. There's usually another one around. So you seeing 2 isn't that uncommon. We have a lot of Bigfoot sightings where people will see 2 or 3 of them at the same time. I hope you all enjoyed this Bigfoot sighting report? Bruno comes back and answers, "Thank you for the answer. It's good to tell this story to people who understand me and don't think that I'm crazy." No, Bruno, we know you're not crazy. We know these things are out there. Kelly from RMSO, that is me. I've seen the creature on 2 occasions, clearly and out in the open enough. I know that they exist, and there's thousands of witnesses and hundreds of videos out there in the United States, Canada, Alaska, even some of them around the world, the Yeti. So, yes, there really is a creature out there, as you saw and described. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching.